Vanilla WoW blew our collective socks off. You ain't seen nothing like us before. What are dungeons? What do gear colors mean? Wait, you're telling me it'd take hours to walk from one side of Azeroth to the other? It takes 40 real people to kill a dragon? I'm watching the trailer for Onyxia, and I think my skull literally implodes from excitement. I want to be that guy, decked out in tier 3 super shiny gear. I want to be that guy with the High Warlord title. I want to be the 1% of players who have stepped foot in Naxxramas. Then they announced the Burning Crusade and my socks were not only blown off, they were sucked into a washing machine, cleaned, ironed, folded, placed back on my feet and blown off again. You got blood elves, you got these space octopus people, the level cap is raised to 70, 10 and 25 man raids, arenas, you step through the dark portal, you're greeted by like 100 demons fighting all up in your grill. 3.5 million sales in the first month alone. You fight Illidan, you fight Kael'thas, Lady Varsh, McDerridin, Gruul, you experience Karazhan, Baby's first raid, and all culminates in arguably the best patch ever, the Sunwell Isle, where you fight Kil'jaeden's torso, his hands and face. Also Kael'thas again. Wrath of the Lich King, Northrend, Death Knights, level cap raised to 80, you kill Arthas. Enough said. Cataclysm, a big dragon destroys Azeroth. Level cap 85. All the 1 to 60 leveling content is completely overhauled, thank Christ. Flying in Azeroth, new races, Worgen and Goblins, portals, Cho'Gall, Ragnaros version 2, a year of no content, but that's alright because we have LFR now. Pandaria, level cap 90. Monks, pandas, pet battles, scenarios, challenge modes, war returns to the game, Horde vs Alliance, 5-man dungeons are... As for 5-mans, well, we have scenarios in LFR now, so yeah, this is awkward. No planes, hey, try out pet battles or dailies. We have a lot of dailies. We'll get back to you about those 5-man dungeons. And now let's look at the future. The information I have to go on is based on current patch 5.2 release content and should only remain relevant until the next WoW expansion announcement, hopefully later this year. So first let's round up some general expansion ideas and explore them. Theorize, speculate, let's get warm and cozy with our tinfoil hats and narrow down the possibilities. The first, and this one is the most obvious, like, if this isn't the next expansion, I'll be extremely shocked. An attack by the Burning Legion. There's 4 ways they can go about this. 1. The expansion is set on a new planet, just like Outland. They can either make it up on the spot like Pandaria, or they can use a pre-existing one like Argus, the home base for the Eridar, Nathrezim, and all things generally evil. Even though this might seem like a no-brainer choice, I personally feel it's the least likely choice, simply because Argus seems more like endgame, all or nothing content. If they blow their load on the frying pan of evil, we're not going to have any places left to shoot for. I mean, what's left in terms of outer space? Titans, maybe? 2. The invasion of Azeroth. Initial impressions is not a chance, because they just did all this 1 to 60 work for Cataclysm, and they're not gonna ruin all that. However, there's a couple of things I must note. There have been clues, primarily from Deathwing's son Wrathion, that the Burning Legion could very well be invading, as seen by Infernals striking the planet from all directions in his little light globe deal thing. And due to the improvements in phasing and scenarios separate from the current world itself, maybe it's possible to cut away pieces of existing Azeroth and give them phasing makeovers. So while you're level 1 to 90, the world remains Cataclysm era, but once you exceed that, everything changes to the Burning Legion attack. There's obvious problems with this theory, but it's interesting to look at Blizzard's engine limitations and their ways to bypass the simple lol Sif that replace all their Cata work with level 95 Burning Legion attacks. 3. An Outland revamp. I personally feel this is the most likely, but only if combined with other ideas. Does maybe Outland get cataclysmified, but instead of damage being done, it gets invaded, overthrown, and corrupted by the Burning Legion, turning every continent into some weird demonic spin-off like Nagrand is a burnt-out landscape full of evil Murlocs, or a Black Citadel-style Shatrath, or some weird alternative universe where Blade's Edge Mountain doesn't suck to level in. Or you could treat it like in Cataclysm where you have the revamp, and max level content elsewhere like new zones in Azeroth. 4. A combination of the above. New planet, Outland revamp, partial Azeroth invasion. Cover everything without putting all the eggs into one basket. that is just expansion idea number 1. Let's take a small break before the next one by looking at potential new races. First off, the ones people have been calling out years for, ogres and high elves. Ogres have already been, quote, announced, end quote, as an April Fool's joke, where one player controls one head, the other player controls the other. And ever since, just like Pandarians, people now want them in the game. Though if anything's been obvious, it's that people like choosing super sexy characters with perky jugs or chiseled abs over stupid fat characters that mostly dress in loincloths. So unless Blizzard have hidden away a supermodel version of female ogres, they may not be the most popular choice. High elves, on the other hand, well, why would they add this race in? A race of elves that look exactly like blood elves except for blue eyes. The answer is because of the player base. People want all kinds of stupid crap. But maybe we could look at this situation differently. What if instead of this new yet overly similar race, we just make it so each existing race can choose a new faction? Any race can now select Horde or Alliance simply because they have different alignments. Like, instead of normal trolls, you can select a Zendalari troll. Instead of a blood elf, a high elf. A traditional worgen, a wild worgen loyal to the Horde. It's a very real possibility, and it's the only reason I can see them adding high elves without everyone laughing at Blizzard for copy-pasting another race. Expansion idea number 2. This one is iffy but also necessary, and I'll be very interested to see how they approach it. Queen Azshara, the islands of the South Seas, Kul Tiras, Zandalar, and Enzoth, the old god in the ocean. Now before you say, hey, a bunch of random islands at sea aren't enough to base an expansion on, first you have to realize that Queen Azshara did some pretty terrible things. You could even say she's worse than Arthas. If it weren't for her, the Legion would not have found Azeroth at all. She pretty much cursed her entire race to becoming Nagas. She's as powerful, if not more so, than Deathwing. It's a given that she needs to be beaten into the ground. I like to look at the Cataclysm Zone Vashj'ir as a template for an underwater expansion. You can walk on the ocean surface at full speed, you've got underwater mounts, you've got the above world islands for group content and raids, while underwater is used for questing in towns, or vice versa, whatever works. Or hey, you could even just have Azshara just plain lift the whole continent of Nazjatar from the ocean floor so we don't have to deal with the water mechanics. Stranger things have happened. If this expansion were to be the case, you'd be looking at island style raids, Kul Tiras, Zandalar, Tuma Sargeras, culminating in a face-off against Azshara and her posse. The new race would be Nagas, of course, like a group splintered off from the hostile ones already in-game. They'd be pretty much identical to how current Pandarians work, their own mini starting zone, choosing their faction as they leave, etc. Before I go into expansion number 3, let's look at classes that could be added in. Before, the Death Knights were revealed as the first hero class. Blizzard were looking at 3 other candidates for the same role, the Necromancer, the Rune Master, and the Monk. Obviously the latter was added in just recently, though the other 2 had most of their skills passed over to the DK. Ghostscroll has pretty much confirmed that they'll add in another hero class if it suits the tone of the expansion. So guess what? Calling it now. Next class will be a hero. Probably. Unlike with races or expansions, speculating classes is difficult because I haven't the slightest clue what it could be. Death Knights worked for Wrath of the Lich King because the Lich King is a Death Knight. Can you imagine how awkward it will be if the next expansion is Burning Legion themed and the class announced is a fruit vendor? Here, Mr. Demon, please eat this poison-laced mango and drop my T19 shoulders. What we need though is a new ranged class, one that does not cast spells. Hey you, how many ranged classes can you name that don't cast spells? Oh, it's easy, Hunter. Great, that's 1. Keep going. You can't. Don't you find it incredible that only one class in the game uses ranged weapons? Here are some ideas off the top of my head. A class that folds space and time, so they shoot from a distance, a portal opens, and the bullet appears in the enemy's face. They punch through a portal, it hits. They slow down time, firing bullets through the portals all over the place, ruining PvP forever. Another class, a pure ranger type class, none of this hunter pet type garbage. They augment ranged attacks with fire and shit. They fire bullets and they can control the bullets in midair. They have like double guns, revolvers glued to the back of rocket guns, firing Davy Crockett nukes. Yes! The nuclear heavy gunner class, with weapons like the StarCraft II Marine, the Marauder, Firebat, and Medic all rolled into one. You can give them demon horns or something so they'll be appropriate to the expansion. The third expansion idea will be my final one, and I know people expect the Emerald Dream, but all I have to say on the topic is that Apparently everything got resolved in the novel Storm Rage. There's a very real chance that they might make it a future expansion, but it's not something I personally expect to see anymore. If they do it, I figure they'll just phase Azeroth and make everything surreal, like landscapes blurring into each other, crazy indecipherable stuff floating all over the place, clocks melting on the ground, that kind of thing. There might also be a Titan expansion, but I don't have anything interesting to speculate there, so anyway. Expansion idea number 3. It's just my crackpot theory, but I think the other side of Azeroth will be revealed. It'll be like a massive event. Pandaria and steroids. According to the existing lore, all ships that attempt to leave the Great Sea never return. So either they're all marooned on some super secret landmass or killed. The Titan maps of Azeroth reveal nothing on the other side except ocean, but then if nothing is there, why doesn't anyone ever return? Is whatever dwells there hidden from view like Pandaria, so that even the Titans, who apparently oversaw all life at Azeroth, can't detect them? The other side might be worked into another expansion like the Burning Legion or Ajara ones, but I feel no, this is going to be kept completely under wraps and then unveiled as like one of the final expansions. There could be anything there. Primal orcs, trolls, humans, maybe some demons who got lost and decided to live in peace. More Draenei, maybe it's a landmass filled with Mancrick's long lost family. Maybe it's just a lot of damn ocean and I'm talking out my ass. So now I want to hear your theories. What expansions are you expecting? Maybe something off the wall, like 2 more expansions and then a Warcraft 4 RTS. Maybe instead of the Emerald Dream, we get the Mango and Blueberry Dream with extra cream and syrup. Leave a comment, rant about my awful speculations, call me a bumbling douche nozzle. It's free speech, son.